Hello, I'm Ajahn Jyotipalo. Welcome to Sauntering into Silence. Looks like winter is getting a foothold here in British Columbia. The past 2 weeks, the word ritual has been coming up quite a bit. So I thought I'd just give a few reflections on ritual, the importance that they have in a Buddhist context. Um, I think oftentimes with ritual, it's just sort of seen as something that you do on the side. It maybe does have some importance, but it's kind of a garnish, something on the side. Whereas I think for most Westerners, we have this view that what Buddhism has to offer is the meditation. So we have a goal in life to maybe be peaceful, to be happy, to live with ease. And so it's almost like a transaction that we have. So we feel like there's certain causes and conditions you have to put in to be able to have a calm mind. So it's like, how much sleep do we get? How well are we taking care of our body? Are we putting in the effort to sit and meditate? And there can be the sort of belief that if we put in the right causes, put in the right conditions, that the results will come. And that to a certain extent is right. And we've seen this as examples of us growing up, like say with education. So if we put forth the effort in school, if you want to just pass the class, if all you really have to do is pay attention to the teacher, what they're talking about, and you can probably pass the class. But if you want to get into college or do better than that, you actually read the material before the class, and so you've thought about things. But then if you really, really want to be good and you want to go on to the highest universities and get a really good job, you not only read the books, but you also start reading the end notes and see the sources who wrote the books and those kinds of things, and you do a lot better than everybody else, and you usually end up getting rewarded for that later in life with the more stressful jobs maybe. But so we see that as also with sports and the arts and anything, like the more effort you put into it, the oftentimes the better results you get. And so we have that same attitude towards meditation. But I think what ritual does is it actually aids that the meditation or the results that we can get from meditation, but in a real way, it actually makes it real. It gives you something tangible, something to hold on to, something you're seeing the results. You're actually experiencing the emotions of what it is that we want to cultivate in the meditation. So a perfect example of this was last week. A Sri Lankan community came to do a ritual here that Ajahn Sona, Sister Mon, and I had never experienced before, but we thought it was extremely beautiful. And what it was this little girl, Georgia, I think she's about 3 years old, had just learned the alphabet. And we were asking the other adults that were there if they had done the same ritual when they were growing up, and they all couldn't remember it because they were too young, but they all said that their families told them that they had done this. And so when Georgia had memorized the alphabet, the parents called all the friends and family and set a date, and they came to the monastery. They offered a meal and set up a little shrine that had a lot of George's favorite things on it, some of her toys, candles, incense. The monastics, we did some chanting for her. Everybody, of course, was dressed up really beautifully. And then Georgia came up and just on a chalkboard, just ceremonially wrote the letter A on the board, and just signifying that she knew the alphabet. And of course, everybody then, praised her and just let her know that that was, something that was really important to their community, to their family, was education and learning.
Here's something. Each letter, each letter is a Smartie. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, pop, 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 pop. This is it. And each one is delicious. You want to eat that one? Go ahead. Eat it. Yeah. Nice. Now these, when you put these together, they spell words. And words are even more delicious because they're made up of different. Yes. They're made up. That's a word. These are letters. That's a word. That's also delicious, and you can have that. And you can have these too. Okay, now.
I just thought that was just such an amazing little ritual, and wanted to share that. Another important aspect of ritual is the communal aspect. When we're meditating, even when we're meditating in a group, it's usually a solo experience. You can only experience what you are going through. And so when your eyes are closed and you're focusing on something, it's really all we can know is our own experience. But in a ritual, even though you can't know anybody else's experience, you are doing that in a group very consciously and actively. So there's a beautiful communal aspect to ritual. One of the first monasteries that I lived at was the Vaigiri Buddhist Monastery in California. And I was really impressed with Ajahn Pasanno in that sometimes when we were doing a ritual or a ceremony, he would stop and just question, why are we doing this? What's the significance of candles on a shrine? What's the significance of bowing? Why do we do chanting? And so it wasn't just something that we did out of habit, something you did before you meditated, but when we discussed it, it had meaning and had an emotional aspect to it, something to support our practice. So that's what I guess I've always appreciated ceremonies and rituals.